Hi everybody, welcome back to Capital City Beads. In this video, we're going to be creating a mandala inspired earring using 2-hole Superduo beads. These beads have 2 holes and they fit together perfectly. We're going to be using 3 different color Superduos, 1 3mm fire polish, and some size 11 check glass seed beads. You're going to need some ear wires. You can use a simple ear wire, I like the funky ones, and a size 12 beading needle. You can use 4-pound fire line or 6-pound fire line, but I do recommend using fire line because it is more stiff. You'll need a chain nose plier, something smooth on the inside for your ear wires, and some scissors. Before you get started, you want to check all of your Superduos. Sometimes with the coloring and the finishes, the holes can be plugged and you don't want to be halfway through your project and realize you got a plugged hole. So just kind of take a peek at all of them and make sure all their holes look okay. We need 2 feet of our fire line. So I'm going to measure out 2 feet. That gives us a little extra to tie off the beginning and tie off at the end. You're going to thread on your beading needle. My needle threading trick, you want to hide that thread where you can almost see nothing, just a little speck, and just put the eye of the needle right onto that little speck and it should just go right in for you. Okay, we're going to start with the center of this piece. So we're going to string on 1 size 11, 1 Superduo, 1 size 11, 1 Superduo, 1 size 11, and 1 more Superduo. We're going to have 4 Superduos, and we need to start with the size 11 and end with the Superduo. We're going to push these guys all the way to the end of our thread, leaving about a 3-inch tail. We're going to actually use that tail. We're going to tie it off to make it more secure. So we're going to tie this in a knot. So cross those ends over, put your thread through the loop and pull tight. This is just a basic knot, kind of like you were tying your shoes. I make it look harder than it is, but it's really easy. So we got 1 knot. I went slowly just so that my beads didn't twist. And we're going to do that second double knot for extra security. Before we can continue, we need to get rid of that little tail or it's gonna drive you crazy the entire time we're making this piece. So you're gonna string your needle onto that little tail end, hide it, and then lay that eye right on top. It'll pop right in. We're gonna pass our needle through a couple of those beads, the bottom hole of the Superduo. And I mean, when I say bottom, I mean the one that already has thread in it, not the top one that is exposed. So we've thread that needle through a couple of those bottom beads. And I'm going to stick my needle in the center of my little star, not in any bead, just in the center. And then pass the needle back down through that loop it creates. This is going to create a little hitch knot, helping add security to that tail so that tail doesn't come undone. Go through a couple more beads and then trim this off. That tail is secure and the base of our earring is nice and strong. So we're going to put our needle back on the longer part of our thread and we can start weaving up the rest of the earring. Right now our thread is coming out of the bottom hole of the Superduo and we need to get it up to the top hole. So I'm going to go through that 11 and through the bottom hole of that Superduo. You can see my needle coming right out of that bottom hole. And now I'm going to step up into the top hole, or kind of like going in reverse. So we were going one way, now we're going to reverse it and go back the other way. So our needle is now going to go through the top hole of that Superduo. So now we're all set to add beads into those channels between the little starfish. So we're going to start with, I'm going to just say green and pink. So we're going to go green, pink, green. And then I'm going to go through the next top hole. We're going to pull that all the way through. Give it a nice little tug. You can adjust the beads, make sure they're not twisted, and they're going to pop right in. So we're going to repeat green, pink, green. and then go through that top hole of the next Superduo. Again, green, pink, green, through the top hole. So now we're on the last one. To complete this row, we're going to do the same thing, green, pink, green, but we're also going to go through the bottom hole of that very first green one that we put on in that row. So I'm going through the top hole of the centerpiece and the bottom hole of the first one in the second hole. Hold nice and tight. You're going to give this a nice tug because this completes row number 2. And now we need to step up to get to the next row. So we're coming out of the bottom hole. We're now going to put our needle through the top hole of that Superduo that we just came out of. So now all these little channels only get one Superduo at a time. So between the 2 green beads, you put 1 green bead, and then you put 2 pink ones, and then 1 green one. So the only one that gets the single green one, you can kind of see where they line up. So we're going to start with just the 1 green, and then we go pink, pink, green, and we're going through 1 Superduo at a time. So we add 1, go through a hole, add 1, go through a hole. Add the pink bead, go through the hole. And now I'm back to the green section. Add the green, go through the hole. Just 1 bead at a time. Now I'm on my last one. I'm going to put on a pink bead and I'm going to go through that top hole and the bottom hole of that very first green one we put on for this row. So you're going to go through 2 holes, that top one and the bottom one. We've completed row 3. Give it a nice tug. You want to make sure your tension's nice and tight before moving on to the next row. So we're going to step up or reverse or back up, whatever you want to call it. We're going to go back up into that top hole of the Superduo we were just in. Now we're going to add our fire polish and some seed beads. So between the 2 pink beads, the little beads that kind of have more space, we have to add seed bead, fire polish, seed bead. But we're not there, so we're going to start with just 1 fire polish. That's okay. My tension was kind of weird, so you just give it a tug before you move forward. So now I'm between the 2 beads with the larger space. We're going to go seed bead, fire polish, seed bead. And now we're going to add 1 fire polish, go through the Superduo. Add 1 fire polish, go through the Superduo. And now that I'm at the beads that are the same color, we do seed bead, fire polish, seed bead. Go through the Superduo. Every space is getting either a fire polish or a combo. So we go to 1 fire polish, pull through, 1 fire polish, pull through, and you want to make sure you're keeping your tension nice and tight as you go. You can see that I'm using my middle finger and my thumb to really hold this piece in place. I'm not letting it flop around on my table. I'm keeping it really stabilized as I move through these beads so that my tension is nice and tight and I don't have a floppy mandala. Seed bead, fire polish, seed bead. Now we're on our last fire polish, and we're gonna go through all those beads. We're gonna go through the Superduo, fire polish, Superduo, and we're gonna come out that first size 11. I tried to do it in one shot, but it's a curve and my needle's straight, so it didn't really work out. So I pulled it through, and I'm going to keep continuing until I come out of that first size 11. So my needle is now coming out of that very first size 11 seed bead. I'm going to pull tight. You could leave it like this, but I'm going to add a little picot action around here with some little seed bead accents. So we're going to start with 4 size 11 seed beads. And we're going to go in that next size 11. So this is going to create a little seed bead arch. So we're coming out a size 11, adding 4, and then going in the size 11. We're going to come out the next fire polish, and we're going to add 3 more size 11 seed beads. Go through until you're coming out the next size 11. Give it a tug. Now we add 4 more size 11 seed beads and go through the seed bead and then come out the next fire polish. Add 3 more seed beads and go into the fire polish and then out the next size 11. And we're going to continue this pattern until we've come all the way around to the end. Right here I thought something weird happened, but it's just the tail of my needle where my thread is folded over. I just needed to loosen that up a little bit. And of course I loosened it up too much. And my needle's not actually threaded at this particular moment. Here we go, and bam, fail. But it's okay, this kind of stuff happens. It's totally normal. I didn't want to make this video for the 5th time, so we're just going to keep going. Thread that needle, and we're going to continue. On our last row, we're going to add our last little set of 3. We're going to go through that fire polish and come out that Superduo right next to us. And then we're pretty much done. Now all we need to do is tie off this thread so that our earring doesn't fall apart. Beautiful. So I'm going to tie a little hitch knot right here. I'm going to go up in between the beads. I'm in the space between the Superduos and the fire polish. Not actually in a bead, just in the space. And then we're going to go back down through that loop that our thread creates. And it's going to create a little hitch knot right there on the thread. We're going to go up and around that little arch of seed beads, and this is where we're going to put our ear wire. So this thread here is now doubled up and reinforced to add security for our ear wire. And while you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're always following the path that your beads are always on. You don't want your needle and your thread crossing over or going in a weird place where you're going to see it. I tied 1 more hitch knot, went through a few more beads. If you want to tie more than 1 or 2 of these hitch knots, go for it. But 2 should suffice. I'm going to trim that off as close as possible. And then we're going to put on our ear wire. I love these elongated ear wires with this little mandala pendant because I like the drama. But you could put these on a shorter ear wire, a clip-on, whatever you like. It really doesn't matter. So we're going to twist that loop open, stick that reinforced arch onto that ear wire, and twist it closed. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I've got tons of Superduos on my website that I just added, and I'm so excited to share them with you. I can't wait to make some more projects. Please tag us, Capital City Beads, in your pictures. I would love to see the color combos you guys pick for these earrings. Enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. Find us on Instagram at Capital City Beads.